Hello, friend. I have not seen you for a while, but I'm happy to see you now, and hopefully, you're happy to see me here again. The topic of this video is how to forgive yourself for the past mistakes, and this is a topic or a question that I think everyone asks themselves at least once in their life. I don't know how old you are, but I'm 25 and I've asked myself this question multiple times. And I think, and if you haven't had that question in your head, I just want to congratulate you and tell you that you're probably being very mentally stable and healthy and lived a very good life, a life of a good person or a good citizen, though I feel like we all do mistakes. And this is the reality of human nature. We're not perfect, and the more we embrace it, the better life gets. But going back to the topic, why do I want to talk about it? Well, first of all, as I said, I think a lot of people might ask this question, and I just want to share my experience, my perspective on how I have forgiven myself for something that I've done a long time ago and something that has been bothering me for almost 5 years, maybe even more. And I'm not going to go into detail what I did and who I hurt and what consequences I had to face, but I'm just going to tell you that regardless of what you're facing, regardless of what you've done, regardless of how similar or different your situation may be from mine or somebody else's, we all carry imperfections, and we all probably did something that we're not proud of. And I want to tell you that what helped me to forgive myself and what might help you, hopefully. So I had a therapy session a few days ago on that situation that happened to me 5 years ago. And the situation wasn't like something crazy, but it was still ugly. And I'm not happy about the fact of what I did and who I hurt. And I've talked about it in my therapy a few times before with a different therapist. And I did get feelings of relief and release and easiness, but I think the situation was so deep that in order for me to really let it go, I had to go into the circles of going back to that situation again and again, realizing more and more, because the reality is you learn from your mistakes, and what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And this is very true to those situations where you weren't proud of yourself and you weren't happy with your actions, you weren't happy with your attitude. And I think the only way to really let them go is to go back, kind of relieve it in your head or in your emotions. Let all of your emotions out. Understand what did you do wrong. Understand what you don't want to do again or you don't want to repeat again, and try your best to never repeat those things, so you learn from your mistakes. There is absolutely no point in feeling guilty till the rest of your life, and it took me quite some time to get to this point. And I didn't my emotion of guilt wasn't always present. It would just come and go, and obviously it would come in the times when I don't want it to come. It's the times when something would happen at work or something would happen in my personal life, something that's not really good. And because I think, and this is just my opinion, and this is how I think my brain works, obviously when something not very happy happens in your life, something that's not satisfactory, it kind of brings you not just that kind of emotion that you're not happy with your current situation, but it brings back all the shit that you haven't processed, and it comes like a wave, and it comes like a very loud voice in your head of a self-critic. And I just want to also mention that we are our own worst critics, and we are very harsh on ourselves, and I feel like 80% of the people are pushing themselves every single day more than anyone else in their surrounding, to do better, to be better, to be perfect, and etc. And I'm one of those people. But because you are your own critic, because you are the one who committed the actions that you're not proud of, and because you are the one who is suffering, it's very complicated to really detach a little bit from that situation, from those emotions, and look at them from a different angle. But that's probably the step number one. And that's what my therapy session allowed me to do. My therapist, I think, was very stressed. Maybe not stressed, but he was trying really hard to try and show me a different perspective of the situation that again happened fucking 5 years ago. And I thought that the only way I could forgive myself is to ask forgiveness from others, and it's not always possible, and it's not always, I don't want to say necessary. Obviously it's necessary if you know that you hurt somebody, but and I'll get to this part a little bit later, but I realized that if I ask forgiveness for others, there might be a chance that they're not going to forgive me, or there might be a chance that I'm never going to be able to reach out to them, and that I'm kind of dependent on the forgiveness from others. And then I even thought further in the therapist, like, okay, let's say everybody forgive you, then what? Then I'm like, oh, I might feel better. And then I stayed in that feeling of feeling better a little bit longer, and I realized that the voice of my self-critic is still very loud. So then I got to the point when I was like, okay, I feel like I need to forgive myself first in order for me to receive forgiveness from others in case they can't forgive me. And in order for me to move on. But I feel like the first step is always forgiving yourself first and realizing that you did what you did, you can't change it, and the only thing that you should do is learn from those mistakes. So step number 1, try therapy. Highly recommend. Step number 2 is go back and relieve those emotions and those feelings in that situation in your head and think through why you did what you did, what were the motives behind your actions, and what did you learn from that situation, with probably consequences that, you know, made you feel fucking guilty and ashamed of that action. And so during my therapy and during the parts of like relieving that situation, it allowed me to detach a little bit from the situation itself, because I think what mind does is like mind is getting attached to those bad situations in the past, and it identifies whether like you identify yourself with that situation. Like you think that if you did a bad thing once, that you are a bad person, where in reality it's no, if you admit that what you did was wrong and understand that you don't want to do it again, and you are very cautious and you are very gentle with everyone else in your life further on in similar situations, then I think you deserve the forgiveness. But, and this is the crucial part, and if you watched up until this part, I hope this is going to be very helpful. I think the pivotal moment in me realizing that I could forgive myself was the fact that I should own my past. You gotta fucking own your mistakes. There is no one else to blame. There is no one else to say and point out the fingers and say, oh, I did this because I did. You just did it. Let's be adults. You did what you did. I did what I did. I'm not happy about it. I'm not proud of it. But I've learned from it, and I own it, and I take full responsibility for it. And so that, specifically owning your past, owning your path, owning your mistakes, what I think really can help in changing your perspective on yourself, on the past, and on the reality where you're living, like on your mindset, like on how you see yourself. Because once you own it, I felt kind of peace within myself, because I stopped arguing with the critic in my head, because the critic was always like, what you did was wrong, what you did was la 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 la, and I'm like, yes, I know, but, and then I thought, I was like, what can I do to change it? Obviously you can't do anything to change it, so the only way to change it is to accept it and move on. And a lot of people talk about acceptance, and a lot of people talk about owning your past mistakes and learning from them, but I think it does require some sort of effort and time for you to really sit with those things and think through them. And again, I'm hoping that the idea of like owning your past, and your past is just your past. We don't have to like dramatize about it and be like, oh my god, what you did was really bad. Yeah, we all do crazy shit, but just own it. It's your path. It's your fucking path. The more you own of your mistakes, the more mature you become, first of all, because once you learn and you understand, then you understand yourself, you understand your behavior, you understand how you don't want to behave, and you understand how you do want to behave. So you want to change. And change is a growth. Change always brings some new opportunities and some new ways to live this life better. And I think that's actually what made me quite mature enough for my age, is the fact that I realized at the very early stage of my life that accepting your mistakes is probably the best way to cope with them. But that one particular situation was just kind of big, and this is why it took me a while to forgive myself. But I think I finally did, and I'm very happy that I did, because I'm only now realizing that I'm so grateful for that particular situation. I'm so grateful for those people being a part of that. I'm so grateful for how much I've learned and how much I've grown and how much I understood and realized about life, people, and relationships in general. And now I can quite confidently say that I'm on guard for those situations. Like, I am observing and watching, and I'm not allowing those situations to suck me in. I am hoping that this speech was at least helpful to someone, and I just want to let you know that, again, regardless of what happened to you, we all carry those past mistakes, and once you own them, once you let all of your emotions out, I think then the peace is going to come in. And then whenever you see the people who were involved in that situation, you can ask for forgiveness and, sincerely apologize. And if they can forgive you, that's awesome. If they can't, let them have the right to not to, because it's fine. Like, it happens. I'm wishing you a great week. This video might have not been the happiest video ever, but I do want all of us to think about the fact that we're not perfect. And the more we accept our imperfections, the more authenticity we find, the more real ourselves we find. I love you.